Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Imperial Galactic Survival Insights and Analysis. Now, if I'm right here, this is episode 3. Am I gonna look at my notes? Probably not. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Now, as some of you may be aware, and I just realized it's episode 4. Wow, okay. As some of you may be aware, in these videos, I take a look at workshop items from creators that aren't really on the front page and don't really have a large fan base, because I want to give these creators the attention that they deserve. I mean, there's some of them still have some flaws with their builds and they're not perfect, but you know what? We're going to give some constructive feedback here. We're going to make sure that they get the attention and hopefully get them some stuff that they wouldn't normally get. Now, this week I was having a bit of trouble finding things that I wanted to review that fit the criteria, and so I might have something here that is, strictly speaking, a little bit more popular than the criteria would normally allow, and you can probably figure out which one of these it is. No, actually, I was completely wrong. One of these is completely professional, and I'm gonna let you keep guessing here. I'm not gonna tell you which one of these is completely professional. That is honestly getting almost no attention on the workshop for whatever reason. So I'm here to give it some attention. Anyways, I'm on a freaking tangent today, so let's go ahead and get started. So first on the list, let me look at my notes here because I gotta read the workshop descriptions, is the 55 F516 Falcon T3. Now this also comes in T2 version, and this one is by one of the workshop's long-time and very prolific and very professional builders that honestly gets almost no attention, and this is Jarvis 1563. For those of you that prefer I say it the other way, it's Jarvis 1563. Now, Jarvis here has, let's just say he's been contributing to the workshop for longer than I've been contributing, than I've been playing the game in any real form. And that's saying something, because I started out in, I think, like, I bought the game in like Alpha 8, and I know I'm making this about me instead of the build, but just bear with me. I started the game in, I think it was Alpha 11. Now, I bought the game in like Alpha 8. No, I started the game in late Alpha 10. I started playing the game in earnest in late Alpha 10, which was 2017, 2018. And he's been around a lot longer than that, and I've seen his builds. He's been around since at least Alpha 7. And he only has 20 visitors to this workshop item. I'm not kidding here. 20 visitors. There'll be a link down in the description so you can visit his workshop. And make sure to go over and give him a follow, because he does stuff. He does a lot of cool stuff. Okay? Anyways. Now, to read the description, because I've been yammering on long enough, and I apologize. It is what it is. The F516 Falcon T3 is the 55th small vessel in the Nexus Space Industries line to be put into service under NSI. Now, there's a line break here, and when he says 55th small vessel, he's not joking, and that's just in his NSI collection. Anyways, I'll read the rest. This vessel is a fully upgraded version of the F515 T2 Falcon. The ship's main role is that of exploring. The ship has CPU T3 with level 20 unlock. This is a vanilla build, I forgot to say that at the start. This SV comes with a minimum amount of devices: storage compartment, detector, spotlight. The ship is equipped with 3 additional minigun turrets and 2 pulse lasers and 2 plasma cannons, 4 Gatling guns. The SV has a shield generator. The vessel is equipped with regular and armored steel blocks. This is from him. Hope you enjoy. Leave a like and share it when you like the blueprint. Check out the collection below, and there'll be a link to the collection when you go to see this item on the workshop. I need to leave a like. I'll have to do that on Steam because I'm looking at this on my web browser. Anyways, that is the workshop description. Now, I have I've looked at this thing, and it is bloody brilliant. It's simple, elegant. You got a little spotlight here that it is indented into the shaping. I do this too occasionally, but this is I learned this from him. I learned this from Jarvis. Now, this thing's floating in the air right now, but he does a nice use of not using symmetry to the extreme. In other words, he has these little utility deco devices. Just that much little extra character to the build. Got a lot of use of coloring and texture, more than I normally do. So, good job, man. Very good job with this. He also uses the texture behind other shaping, which is really, really cool. And just the shaping that allows for accurate placing of turrets is very, very cool. When I first saw this, I thought I was seeing a Big Brother version of my Jackal, which we saw in a previous video this week. But no, this was he did absolutely wonderful on this, and it's absolutely glorious. I like the placement of thrusters. It's smart. Okay, well, I do have some qualms about the thruster placement, but that's just because they're not absolutely optimal. But this is vanilla. I don't worry about that. Let's see. What else can I say about this thing? It's just glorious, and I'd love to use it. Now, on the internals, he also does a good job of spacing stuff out. Yeah, because that's not targetable. You see that right there, that shield jitter? That's not targetable. And the generators are out on the outside. Now, I don't think the extenders will chain react too much and cause a problem there, but they might. So that might be something that worries me a little bit about the build. But as he said, it's an exploration SV, and it's got the maneuverability to get out of the way fast. So I'm not too worried about the internals exploding. And to be honest, I am not going to take a debug gun and test this myself on stream because that would just be disrespectful. But I am kind of curious, so I might test it in game at some point, and I might fly it around in game at some point and just see how it works. But from what I see here, this is, as long as you're a smart pilot and don't take it where it's not meant to go and just sit in front of damage, you should be completely fine. Now next we have the... That's not the one. Next we have the Murosaya Recon Corvette. Now, I'm actually going to look at the P menu so you can actually see how this is spelled, because I don't know if I'm saying that completely wrong or what's going on. Anyways, Recon Corvette. I'm not going to try and butcher that name again. I'm just going to call it Recon Corvette. Now, this is a small vessel. Yes, I'm not kidding. This is a small vessel. Now, this thing is made for vanilla, from what I can tell, and these statistics are reforged. Because I'm doing this in Reforged because I have to in order to do some of the other builds. But anyways, this is made for vanilla. I shouldn't be looking at it this way. And it is a personal yacht, from what I understand. Now, this thing caught my eye for several reasons, and one of them was glowies. Yeah, I'm not kidding here. I like glowies. We all know this. And the other thing that caught my attention was just the shaping. And then I actually brought it into creative and looked at it before the stream a little bit, and I am very impressed, to say the least. And here's why. it's made to be navigable by a player on the internals, unlike a typical SV. This is the bridge here. Excellent use of lighting. And he even made his own little LCDs in here, which is no small feat, by the way. Actually, is that LCD? Let me check some. Huh. Okay. I don't know. I think that's made custom. Yeah, I believe that's made custom. And you have a crafting room, you have a crafting room and a passenger seat. There's a little fabricator. You got a CPU thing, some fridges, armor locker, and not kidding you, a little table here. Very, very cool. And you have a bunk room, a RP bunk room. You actually use SV blocks to make a bunk room. I thought that was freaking glorious. And then you have the external docking area up here, which I closed and did not open. And then here, I'm not really sure what that is, so let's go back down and take a look. Okay, little supply room, and with a skylight, armored skylight. That's cool. Up here you have the warp drive. Just very cool. Now, when I went through this thing, I did notice a few things. And I'm just going to ignore that weird Empyrean bug where it opened the door that was on the other side of the hallway in another room instead of closing the door that was in front of me, but whatever. Sorry, forgot to do this before stream. I think it looks better at night, but I'm not going to. There we go. It's black, so we have to be able to see it. Anyways, as I was saying, there were some things I noticed on the internals. And those things I noticed were these lag shot blocks. Now, if the author of this build is looking at this stream, lag shot is no longer really necessary. They fixed that in the engine. Now, there are exceptions to that, and that is PvP ships. Now, I know this is not a PvP ship. It's not meant for combat. It's supposed to be a yacht. In which case, you don't need that lag shot. And there are better ways to accomplish that, but I will cover that in a different video because I don't need to touch this build. It was just something that I noticed, and I thought that would be beneficial to say. And I hope I didn't stick my foot in it. Anyways, moving on. Oh right, I didn't say the creator on this. My bad. Creator on this, along with the description, is C4 Moleflag 3D. That might have some alternate meaning, but if you want to look at the creator tag, right, it's right there on the P menu in the statistics page. And it's C4 Moleflag 3D. Moleflag 3D? I'm probably butchering your name, and I apologize. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the workshop description for this thing real quick while I'll read off the workshop description. This ship was an experimental project of mine. Scale down one of my Medj Reinar battle cruisers into a small vessel from a refit vessel from and refit it to fill a unique fleet role. Not my most practical build, but something fun. This ship features 6-point defense minigun turrets. Yes, minigun turrets. You saw them as lasers here. I spawned this in Reforged. It's meant for vanilla. That's what happens when you have minigun turrets from a vanilla ship and then spawn that vanilla ship into Reforged. If you didn't know that, it's alright. 4 plasma cannons, 6 Gatling guns, 4 railguns, 4 homing rocket launchers, 4 dumbfire rocket launchers, 4 pulse lasers, 3 small external docking bays for small interceptor SVs. Yes, this ship can function as a mini carrier in SV form. 1 medium external docking bay capable of holding a dropship. Mining laser, ample resource ammo storage. Think of the Morosea as a middle ground between dropship and capital vessel. It is fast, highly maneuverable for how big it is, and against anything except an actual combat ship, it can fill the role of air and space superiority craft. Has no trouble wiping out drones, fighters, and being that it is equipped with every weapon available for the SV, the Morosea is adaptable to more mission roles. The Corvette also features a model's internal living space with bridge, crafting room, supply room, airlock ramp, armory, and sleeping quarters. Now, this thing, I know I've been stuck on this one for a while, but I just want to say that when people do these experimental projects that even they know are a little bit experimental and probably don't work within the game mechanics very well, I'm making an assumption here. How do I say this? They are still a valuable addition to the workshop. For the simple fact that that people that make these experimental projects, including this one, take the time to see what works and get out of the box and try something different every once in a while, because then you can pull concepts from these experimental builds and implement them into other builds to keep improving. If you keep going down the same design path over and over, you stagnate. But if you take a chance and go down experimental paths just to see how it works, or if it doesn't work, then you still learn something. So anyways, I like it for that reason, and not only that reason, but I like it for that reason as well. Next, we have another Jarvis build from NSI, and I know I have 2 Jarvis builds this time. It is what it is. This is the 47 Atlas Starter T2. Again, this is by Jarvis, 1563. The Atlas Starter T2 is the 47th capital vessel in the Nexus Space Industries line to be put into service under NSI. The vessel was inspired by Picard Season 3 ships, is a combination of the Steam Runner and the Ilios 7. The ship is a CPU T2 CV made for vanilla single player to start exploring the universe. It has 1 small SV platform. The ship is capable of planetary landings, and there is a ramp on the belly of the ship. The ship comes equipped with the needed facilities to survive in deep space: 1 large constructor, 2x 320k cargo storage, 2x 14k ammo storage. Those are the little green ammo boxes. The 2x1x1 green ammo boxes. Fridge, small medical, armor locker, small bedroom. This CV comes with a small amount of devices This CV comes with a small amount of devices. It is warp capable and regular steel for armor. The ship is upgradable to T3 extenders next to the warp. T3 extenders next to warp core. There is room for a shield generator on the outside, underneath the SV landing pad. I'll come back to that. The vessel comes equipped with 2 minigun turrets, 8 sentry gun turrets. The ship has been poorly armored with regular steel and plastic. When you land, the sentry turrets and belly ramp will activate. Again, from the author, hope you enjoy. Leave a like or share it when you like the blueprint. I would also recommend leaving a comment. that'll help out too, and check out his collection that is linked in there as well. Now, I said I'd come back to something in that description, and it was the shield generator. And putting it, if I can remember correctly, that's on the outside underneath the SV landing pad. Shield generator is meant to go where this X is. You're supposed to pick up these blocks right here, these little slope blocks, and put the shield generator there. Now, some of you might be thinking, what the heck is this guy thinking? A stray shot will take it out. Yes, that's true, except for one thing. The shield generator is not targetable, and as long as there is nothing else that they want to shoot at near it, which I don't see there is. I know there's a thruster there, but take a look at the thruster, the way the thrusters are spread out. They're going to shoot out at the ones away from it before they go for these two back here. And on the internals, there's also nothing to shoot at except for these, which again is several blocks removed away from where the shield generator is. And I think that's freaking brilliant that he had the foresight for that. Either that or he pulled a me where I forgot to add a device and then just slapped it on after the fact and just barely covered it and called it good. I have a few ships that did that, so it's possible that that was the intent, or he actually thought about it and was just like, yeah, it actually works there. And in which case, either way, it's brilliant. And I literally just said that about that. Anyways, the warp drive is back here, just like a steam runner starship would be. But there's a couple things I want to note before I go to the internals, and that is the fact that I normally don't look at Star Trek stuff, okay? And there is a very good reason for that. And the reason for that being is that normally when people make Star Trek stuff for this game, they try and force the curves and the shaping, and they make it really, really blocky, and it doesn't feel like a true adaptation. And then there's the other part of it where it's bringing another IP. I say IP. It's intellectual property or another like something like Star Trek or Star Wars into the game. Now, I kind of, and I know I'm making on a real tangent here that's probably gonna have you guys yelling at me in the comments, but that's fine. I'm still gonna speak my mind here. I don't really like that. I don't like seeing ships like that because, and how do I say this without actually making a fool of myself? Personally, I don't like that because it feels like it takes away from the creativity of the game. So when I see something like this, that it's inspired by two separate ships from Star Trek, and it takes what those aspects of those ships that creator likes, and it brings them into the game in a way that merges those aspects with the game and the in-game universe. Now, I know I'm nerding out here, but it's just what I think, okay? And that's why I really appreciate this build, is that he took inspiration from somewhere else, and then he made it his own inside this game universe. And truly transformed it rather than copied it and then shoved it in the game. Now, if that makes sense to anybody, let me know in the comments. If it doesn't make sense to you and you just hate me for saying it, rant at me in the comments. It's completely fine. But anyways, it's what I think. And I'm making this about me again, and I apologize. But I'm bringing it back because it makes this build so much better in my mind that he did it this way. Anyways, that's probably gonna get me anyways, and I should go back to reviewing this. Now, I do see here that he used some of NT's LCDs here. That's pretty cool. Jarvis, if you're watching, I would love to get with you, excuse me, to have a conversation with you and help you tune up these LCDs so that they fit properly in here, and so that this down here doesn't look so crummy. I am saying crummy about the fact that that border LCD is just Salusticor, you could spend more time on that LCD. Come on, man. Anyways, or you could go back to it. I love your LCDs, man, but that one, just come on, man. I'll give you praise for all your great LCDs, but I will also give you a hard time for the LCDs that you didn't spend much time on. Now, in here you have your medical, you have your captain's quarters, I assume, and there is a practical purpose here because this shower here deals with radiation and lowers body radiation, and then you have not full medical there, which is interesting. Necessary medical, it looks like. Let me see here. Let me try my head real quick. Yes, okay, so these are huh. Okay. I don't know. Interesting choice of medical devices is all I'm going to say there. Now, I do like how this ship is a very, very simple layout to where it's not a rat run. And it's a starter ship. It's very, very simple for the player to understand where things are. Very, very cool. Use of colors and textures is also really cool. Gravity generator back here. Did you put that to signal logic? No, it doesn't look like the gravity generator is on signal logic. That might be something that the player needs to add. Looks like some more LCDs added to these cargo containers. I don't remember who did these LCDs. Let me see if I look by the code. Coding, it looks like this is Alessia. Because the coding... Salusticor and Alessia, the two people that predominantly do most of the LCDs for the games that you for the SV and CVs and POIs that you see in game, they have two different coding styles. So I can tell who it is just because I've worked with Alessia, and I also learned a lot from just looking at Salusticor's LCDs and implementing them on my own ships and tweaking them a bit. So there are two different styles. Anyways, I have gotten so far off track on this video, and I apologize. It's been more ranty than anything, so let's go ahead and get to the last one. Excuse me, second to last. So this one is by Master Chief. Now, this HV, let me look at my notes here. Subscribed items. This one wasn't initially going to be in the video, but another entry fell through because it was a copy of somebody else's work, and I caught that before the video. This little ship is the first in the line of ground vehicles. It mirrors the shape and size of her sister counterpart SV class of ship. Stay tuned, folks, for a whole lineup of different ground vehicles and many different versions. I also left some room on the ships so that you can upgrade and rearrange it, or simply use it to build more suitable to your needs. This ship is made for Reforged Eden. It is by Master Chief 9732. He is one of the creators that has helped me out with my own creations for a long time, and had helped me out with a lot of my early builds, and someone I still talk to on my Discord. By the way, organic plug for the Discord. There'll be a link in the description. Come by, chat, talk with us. Partake in the insanity. Now, this is a HV harvester. MCS-harvester by Master Chief 9732. This thing is a nimble little thing. It's well under CPU, so there's some upgradable. There's some upgrade room there. Let's see here. I'm looking for something specific. Very cheap to build. Very easy to bring in on the starter. Well, pretty easy to bring in on the starter. But the point is that this thing will stay with you for longer in the game. Now, there is no extra signal logic or on-off of devices attached to this thing. And what I mean by that is that things like... Actually, let me look at the device list before I shoot my mouth off here for a second. So there is no custom grouping on this one, but that's alright. It's something you can improve on, is the custom grouping, like simply putting the thrusters in all in one group. Anyways, I will stop with that. Okay, so you don't need any advanced signal logic on this because everything is handled by this, and you don't want to turn the fridge off accidentally, so yeah. Let's see here. So the internals you can upgrade in or rearrange in different ways depending on what you want them to be. You can just put them, lean it up against a rock or something. Anyways, simple little thing, fits in a lot of nice use of differing colors to create depth. Not depth. Yes, depth indeed, but that wasn't the word I was initially looking for. To create visual complexity. That's the phrase I was looking for. I also like the America colors. Anyways, next on the list. This is something that I saw in the workshop the other day, not too long ago, on my followed authors list. And let me get the proper tab open. And this thing, I'm looking at it on the workshop, and 58 unique visitors with 17 current subscribers. What the heck? I mean, just look at this thing, and then you also take a look at the thumbnail, and it's just like, what? The visual complexity, the use of shapes, and just it's just amazing, and it's barely got any visitors on the workshop, and I'm like, what's going on here? Anyways, I like the use of these right here. These are just small little blocks with a texture add fake lights, and the whole build is filled with just small little details like that. Anyways, let's go ahead and get to the workshop description and the author, because this is freaking glorious. Now, this is the Skimmer class Super Destroyer. Just turning the music down for a second. This is another entry into the Skimmer class of ships. This time, an in-game ship more than 3 times the size of the Skimmer assault carrier, built in and made for Reforged Eden. This is a very combat-centric ship with dummy generators, and thrusters embedded in the nose, surrounded by Xeno and combat steel. In between each side is a tunnel designed to look like a single large cannon. 12 manual fire artillery cannons for heavy damage, single shot damage. Like a lot of my ships, the idea was to drop shields quickly with a ton of shield damaging turrets, and then core the ship with ship or base with artillery, hence the large amount of placeholder laser turrets and large amount of artillery cannons. As is, place T1 laser turrets and missile turrets as placeholders to indicate where to put more advanced turrets. This can be used with more advanced turrets. And this is built as a in-game ship. It is assumed that you can afford to replace them with something more powerful. In other words, this is meant to be upgraded from the placeholder loadout. The ship will spawn and powered off as it is over CPU and require multiple aux or quantum cores before it is operational. Now, I'm going to stop in the description right here to say something very, very important. So, the reason he says that is because he knows, like most of the creators that do for Reforged, that auxes can't be added to a BP anymore because, well, you could... I'll explain that later. But anyways, auxes can't be added before the BP is spawned for reasons. And I know those reasons, and I'm just choosing to skip over them at the moment. But as a result, some players were being knuckleheads, and yes, I'm going to call you for what you are, and putting fuel in a ship immediately after spawning. Can you see what happens there? I'm sure some of you can. What happens is, when you put a fuel in a ship that is over CPU, the generators have a tendency to go boom. And on some builds, that means the entire main section of the ship goes boom and chain reacts, and you are essentially left with a brick. Now, I'm going to leave it at that because I can go on a tangent here. That's not the point here. Anyways, the point here is that he took the creator here, potassium with an N at the end. He took the time to make sure that all of make sure that it was powered off at spawn, so that players would be less likely to do that. Now, some people are still gonna do that. I'm sorry. Anyways, specs: 12 manual fire artillery cannons, 2 manual fire positron cannons, 16 placeholder laser turrets, 4 placeholder missile turrets, 9 minigun turrets, 4 sentinel flak, 8 sentry guns, mining turret, advanced warp drive, advanced shield, 3 large shield capacitors, 2 large shield capacitor banks, 4 large shield chargers, 2 advanced constructors, 2 deconstructors, 4 small constructors, 2 320k ammo controllers, 1 320k harvest controllers, meant to be general storage as well, various 16k containers, full medical, food processor, and large fridge, long-range radar. Thank you so much. This is from the author. Thank you so much for looking. Hope you enjoy. If interested, I have other ships of this class from the starter, mid-game, and even heavy cargo ships. I can vouch for this. I initially reviewed Potassium's light carrier back in the days when this was Akiva and Dawn's workshop spotlight. I miss you, Dawn. Come back and do reviews with me, man. Anyways, after I saw his initial ship, I gave him some feedback on it because it was a chain reaction bomb at the time, and I made sure to follow him on the workshop so he showed up on my followers feed, and instead of the front page, instead of the popular page, there's also a followers feed that you can go into. And when I saw this one come up on my followers feed, I'm just like, ooh, look at it. Anyways, that's how this one came up on it. Anyway, so I already talked about the textures. I've gone a little bit overboard this today, and there are a few more things I'd like to talk about. So this thing, I like the use of colored thrusters on this thing. It looks really, really cool. It sticks with the motif of the ship. Sort of like just a scary red blade coming at you. Now, the bridge is very, very simple layout. You have easy exit to the SV bays on either side. Quick access to the main bridge is always important. You have your medical back here, and you have your and then you have your elevator up to the roof here. So there are 3 entry points to the bridge. Now, the elevator's down here. I have not gone through this earlier. Show you where the upgrades are, and the C is for cores, I believe. I may be wrong, so don't quote me on that. You have your production room. You have your core storage areas. I say core storage area, I mean like your core like storage boxes. And I should power this thing on because it's creative. It's fine. Shield components, constructors, main elevator, use of LCDs to show where everything's are. You've got your LCD projector there. You have your LCDs, that navigation. And you have sort of a bay back here, with deco blocks protecting the warp drive to some degree. I do have worries. You know what? You're supposed to show your face, only your face to the enemy. I'm not gonna critique that. Don't get shot in the rear end with this thing, as with most builds and Reforged. Don't get shot in the rear end. Anyways, yes, on the internals, he did mention that there are embedded decoys that are meant to take damage. That worries me a little bit, but I don't think you're supposed to take that damage all the way up back to that point. Anyways. Good job, Signal Logic. You broke. I have a feeling I broke it. Anyways, this is a very, very cool build. Very, very minimalistic, and as he said, combat focused. There's not really much fluff in this build, which I really appreciate. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope that you have a wonderful day. There has been a tickle in my throat this entire time, so if I sound really weird, that's probably why. Thank you. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to catch you next week when I look at some more workshop builds. Now, please remember to be kind to your fellow humans. When you give feedback to a creator, make sure to, or anybody really, make sure that it's constructive feedback. In other words, try not to insert snark and cynicism or negativity into the comment. Offer ways to improve rather than just saying something is crap. And I'm saying so much because I'm so tired right now. Anyways, I hope that you have a wonderful day. Remember to be kind to your fellow human. Remember to be supportive. And that's it. Banshee out.